From the CBS Broadcast Center in Los Angeles, this is CBS 2 News at 11 p.m.
Santa Ana police say he is a vicious sexual predator, and tonight he's under arrest, thanks to the public and his Dallas Cowboys football jersey. People were certainly upset by this crime. A woman violently and sexually attacked at a bus stop. But police say someone remembered seeing that man and that jersey, and then it all led to a quick arrest. CBS 2 Orange County reporter Stacey Butler is live in Santa Ana for us tonight. Stacey?
Yeah, Jeff, police say that the suspect walked out of this bar just past the Chevron Saturday night. Then he walked right past the strip mall where he was caught on security camera minutes before the alleged sexual assault. And thanks to vigilant viewers, he's now in custody. Wanted for a violent sexual assault at a Santa Ana bus stop last weekend, tonight, 27-year-old Eric Hernandez is now in custody. Police escorted the documented gang member with a criminal history to the Santa Ana Police headquarters after they arrested him at his manufacturing job in Irvine earlier Thursday. The suspect's number 82 Dallas Cowboys jersey helped police track Hernandez down. They say the game finished minutes before the sexual assault, so they scoured local bars and found this one, Buffalo Wild Wings. The bar managers told police Hernandez had been there and was drinking so heavily they asked him to leave. But not before bar patrons took his photo because he was acting so unruly. When they saw the news story on the sex assault suspect wearing the same jersey, they called police.
People care. People saw this, people come forward, people help us. And without the help of the media, without the help of, the community, eventually we would have got this guy, but we got this guy in less than 48 hours.
Hernandez was caught on security tape halfway between the bar and the bus stop minutes before the attack. Armed with a warrant, police searched Hernandez's apartment nearby. They found the same jersey seen in the attack hanging in the suspect's closet.
We believe beyond a reasonable doubt that we have the right person.
And Hernandez faces a slew of charges. Police expect him to face even more charges when DNA results come back from the lab. That's the very latest from Santa Ana. Jeff, back to you.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Stacey. LAPD headquarters was evacuated tonight after someone found a suspicious package in that downtown LA building. A hazmat team was called in to investigate an envelope containing some sort of powdery substance. But just over an hour ago, the hazmat team gave the all clear. Tonight, LAPD detectives are searching for a tour bus wanted for a deadly hit and run in Exposition Park. CBS 2's Christy Fajardo is live with new security video of that bus. Christy?
Yeah, Jeff, this story is developing very rapidly. Just in the last hour and a half or so, the LAPD broke down the scene of the deadly hit and run here. And since then, we've seen officers pulling into that Popeyes over there where they have been meeting with the owner of the bus company. They've been asking him who was driving, if there were any passengers, also showing him the video you're about to see. A security camera records the moments after a tour bus slammed into a man on Flower and 23rd. The LAPD says video was also rolling as the bus gets onto the 110 freeway. A horrified witness following close behind, trying to get the name on the side.
She saw from a distance that there were some feet sticking out. So she drove a little closer, as when she saw this person underneath the bus clinging to the bus with his hands up like this. And she tried to get the attention of the driver. She honked.
It's not clear if the bus driver saw the man, but the bus dragged the body about 100 feet to Adams and Flower. The bus driver then kept going, turning onto the freeway.
We're now currently trying to obtain the video from local businesses and the MTA to get more information.
Police hope those cameras captured the collision, but say video has already led to one break in the case. They now know the name of the bus company.
Do you know if you had any buses in that area?
I don't know. I don't think so.
We were there when detectives spoke to the owner. He had no idea what had happened. And a source tells us the LAPD has just found the bus in Gardena. Officers and detectives are on their way there as we speak. As for the victim, we're told he was a man in his 60s. Live in Exposition Park, Christy Fajardo, CBS 2 News.
Breaking news, the University of California at Davis campus is on lockdown right now after someone shot and critically injured A Davis police officer, Davis just west of Sacramento, that officer responded to a car crash when someone then opened fire, striking her. Now this is new video just into our newsroom showing a SWAT team going door to door looking for the shooter. In a news conference less than an hour ago, police said they have a lead on a suspect, but still, at this point, no one arrested. President Trump is back in Washington tonight, returning from a trip to Texas where he got a look for himself at what he calls a crisis at the border. The president went to Texas to make his case for building a wall along the U.S. border with Mexico. Mr. Trump toured part of the U.S.-Mexico border in McAllen, Texas, as the showdown over the government shutdown stretches into 20 days. In McAllen, the president talked immigration and border security with agents there. Earlier, he warned if Democrats won't compromise on funding for the wall, he could declare a national emergency. In fact, Fox News reports tonight if he did that, he might be taking billions from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, meant for disaster relief here in California, in Texas, Florida, and of course, Puerto Rico, and then use it for the wall instead.
I have the absolute right to declare a national emergency. I haven't done it yet. I may do it.
The president is demanding $5.7 billion for that wall. Democrats say a wall would be ineffective, and they continue to pressure Republican colleagues to pass bills that would reopen at least some government agencies and separate the shutdown from the border wall standoff. 800,000 furloughed federal workers are supposed to be paid tomorrow, but they won't be. CBS 2's Hermela Awargawi spoke tonight with the U.S. Forest Service firefighter who is very concerned for his family.
It is bringing a lot of stress.
The government shutdown's a painful reality for Mark Munoz, a fire captain with the U.S. Forest Service and one of 800,000 employees that aren't getting paid.
From day one, when you first hear about a furlough coming in and it might be, coming into effect, you already have to start making preparations. You already got to start looking at what utility companies you're going to call. Are you going to need extensions?
Munoz has been with the agency for 15 years and has never gone this long without a paycheck. 5 months ago, he was battling the holy fire, and tonight he's fighting to protect his family, his 7 daughters and a wife recovering from cancer surgery.
What are we going to cut out? Is my youngest daughter going to be able to go to Taekwondo? Are we going to be able to pay for sports for the kids? Are we going to have to cut back on groceries? Calling your, landlord and saying, hey, I might not be able to pay rent or pay the mortgage or pay the bills on time.
Munoz says he loves his job, but now that the shutdown's in its 3rd week, it's weighing heavily on his family.
Being part of that culture, being part of that job right there, there's a lot of pride. And to not have that in your life and be taken away, even whether it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks, it brings a lot of pain.
Munoz tells me he just wants to see the 2 sides come to an agreement so he can get back to work. He also tells me that he's been putting off filing for unemployment in hopes that this would be over sooner, but he says it looks like he's going to have to do that tomorrow when his check doesn't come. Reporting in Ontario, Hermela Awargawi, CBS 2 News.
Teachers and the LAUSD will be back at it tomorrow trying to avert a strike after Governor Gavin Newsom announced more money for education in his new state budget today. School Superintendent Austin Buettner said the district would be able to make one more improved offer to teachers tomorrow. Buettner was in Sacramento yesterday appealing for more funds, and those efforts may have paid off.
But it is our intention to propose to UTLA a revised offer tomorrow morning, reflecting this good news from the state.
Austin Buettner's behavior, some of which I went over, does not inspire great confidence, but we will go in with an open mind.
Talks are scheduled to resume at 10 a.m. The union says it still plans to strike Monday if no agreement is reached. Breaking news out of Wisconsin, where a teenage girl who disappeared months ago when her parents were murdered has been found alive. Plus, a fiery dispute between neighbors comes to a dangerous end, and it's caught on camera. What sparked that long-running feud?
The world's richest man is getting a divorce. How Jeff Bezos' breakup with his wife could have an impact on Hollywood. We'll have that story coming up next.
And a bus driver is being called a hero after rushing into oncoming traffic to save the life of a lost boy wandering on a freeway overpass.
Hey everybody, I'm Garth Kemp. Well, weather's about to change. Your forecast coming up.
Hey, here's a look at the guests tonight on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert.